Shady silhouetted images and industry teasers are finding their way into our homes and invading our minds. Their calculated information is delivered to feed our addiction for radio-controlled frequencies. It's an RC conspiracy. But we are on your side, cracking the RC code. Because the truth is out there. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast. Get your decoder rings ready and put on those tinfoil hats because your fearless leader is here. Please welcome your host, the lead RC conspiracist, Tony Cece. Tony Cece. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to another RC Conspiracies. Man, I haven't said that in a long time. This should be a good one. This is a big deal. Last time we were doing these, there's a lot of big deals going on. But if you haven't heard, Amain Hobbies is buying or has bought. I don't know if it went through or how that went, but is buying Hobbytown. We're going to find all that out tonight. I've got a special guest with me here, one of my buddies from Virginia. Mike Dayton, Hobbytown Mike. He's here with us to talk about some of the details that, I mean, there's been so many conspiracies about what's happening and what it means. And I think on the good and the bad side for what some people might think or want or whatever, but there's been a lot of stuff going on. So welcome, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to finally be on an RC Conspiracy episode.
Right.
Also, that intro, I forgot how awesome that intro was.
That was the best $60 I think I ever spent. Thank you, Fiverr, for that. But yeah, I found a guy in there that did cool stuff. I'm like, that would be perfect for the sound I'm going for. That conspiracy. So I know you from my time in Virginia. Your family owns, well, now 4 of the Hobbytown stores in Virginia.
Yep.
That I frequented. I think I was in, almost every one of them when I was there. I'd popped in because I went to Richmond to buy the Losi 5T.
Yes, many years ago.
Yeah. And I've been to Newport News. I sent my brother on a wild goose chase to one of them, telling him to use the XRC discount.
Did it work?
No. He's like, yeah, I hadn't heard. I'm like, dude, ask somebody else. They got to know it.
You got the weird.
It must be new. So
counter, like, no, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. He was in Richmond on vacation with his family, and he was trying to buy a Venom Charger, like the Duo at the time. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got a discount code, dude. Just tell them.
And they're like, I've never heard of him.
Yep. And I'm like, oh, they must be new. Go ask somebody else. So I was trying to send them around the store, punking him.
I'm sure we talked about that in a staff meeting at one point in time. Like,
I don't know. Or maybe they were lower, and didn't think to mention it. But yeah, I knew. But yeah. So man, I haven't seen you in a couple years.
Yeah, since you left the great state of Virginia.
Yeah.
We haven't bumped into each other at any events or anything either. I know, I'm surprised.
Pursuing cooler climates, and yeah, I plan to travel more than I have. They've been, unfortunately, a lot of the dates are overlapping on a lot of events right now, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. So like Monster Jam overlapped with the No Limit stuff, and and I was going to try to get to the Showtime one, but that was canceled.
Yeah.
For good reason it was canceled, but yeah. But yeah, it's been a while, and I miss going in your stores. It was like it's like going into a big store in many ways, because you guys were always so good about keeping everything bright.
Yeah, bright and full and new stuff.
New stuff everywhere, and there was enough walking room too, which was great, like to get around.
Yeah.
So
and you
it just felt
You went to the Virginia Beach store after the remodel because we've done a ton of
I did.
remodels. And,
Yep.
so you saw
Yeah,
it. I think
that
right
was
before-
the time I was back to do the LMT mud truck video. I went in,
right. Yeah.
and the aisles were different.
Yeah, the front's
As far
kinda
as the angle.
sideways now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So RC expansion.
Yeah,
I think
that
that
was
area.
It was like almost 20 years, but until that revamp, new flooring, new lighting upgrades, just keeping it fresh. So it was well overdue.
Yeah. Earl Moorhead in the comments saying Earl, the CCXRC discount code is charged double.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I just wanted to. I'm thankful you reached out to me because I know that you've been having a lot of people kind of questioning what's going on, what's happening. I know I saw it and I was like, that's a big deal. Like I knew for a while that, or it was kind of apparent for a while that Amain was helping run the website side of the Hobbytown, or at least it was very similar looking.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they've actually run the website for 7 years now. So it's been a behind the scenes partnership, and they've done all of the fulfillment. So and people kind of caught wind of this too. If you ordered something from hobbytown.com, it was fulfilled through Amain's warehouses. So it technically came from Amain as part of our partnership.
Okay.
And that help customers get stuff more efficiently.
Yep.
Didn't really have a great online experience, and Amain had a really good online experience. We were like, hey, let's team up. So yeah, that's been going on for 7 years.
So in that instance, then they already kind of were helping out to give a better experience, for more product or whatever. Like, did it help your inventories and stuff for people then?
A little bit, because they fulfilled online. Amain is also a distributor of products, so even non-hobby towns can order stuff from Amain and carry the stuff that they carry. On the most part. But yeah, pretty much every local hobby town buys product from Amain to sell in their stores too.
Okay. Yeah, and I've heard that before. That I know some of the shops that I know here in Michigan will just order direct from them.
Yeah, anyone that carries ProTech and EcoPower, which are their brands, they order from Amain.
Yeah. And I think even like they've been getting, so we do a lot of minis up here, as you probably see, we going crazy with them. I think I bought 10 of them from you guys. Even when I stopped and after I moved, I went back with my mom to help her buy another trailer. Yeah. Because she was selling hers down there, and then we had to tow one up to Michigan. And I went into the Newport news store and bought another SCX24 while I was there because I was bored out of my mind. Yeah. And there was all this perfect stuff to crawl at the while I was waiting for the
travel RC. They're just so portable.
They really are.
Yeah.
So wow, someone's saying that they own Dan's Competition. Amain does. Man, that's an old name. I used to order from that through catalogs back in the day.
Oh, the bike stores.
Yeah, Dan's Competition.
Yeah, the guy that owns, or the CEO, I guess one of the owners, I'm not sure 100% how they're structured, but he's super into biking, and they did acquire a couple biking companies too over the years. So
that's wild.
Yeah, they have a pretty awesome online biking store as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what would you want people to know? So there's been a lot of people thinking, okay, if Amain now owns Hobbytown, so on the other side of it, for RC reasons, we know that's a pretty decent thing, like because Amain's huge, right? It's a huge seller of RC.
They're really good at RC products. They carry a lot of brands that are hard to find elsewhere.
Yeah, and it links the chains of the Hobbytown and Amain some, because basically in some ways, I don't know how it works on the store level, but it kind of gets their brand all over the place. But I'm guessing you guys are still going to be going by Hobbytown. Is there still going to be Amain branding as well that goes with that? Or like you're not, everyone's changing the name to Amain.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the biggest question we've got in store is, hey, is Hobbytown going away? Like am I going to drive up to the store? And
I almost use that as my title. I should have just... Does this mean that Hobbytown is done? Is Hobbytown over?
Yeah, that's what we've got. We got a lot of questions from that level, and a lot of people think that Hobbytown is, everyone confuses franchise with like a corporate-owned store. But even though we're a franchise, every location around the country is individually owned, so every store is super unique. My dad and myself own the ones in Virginia. and ours are much different than other ones you'd see around the country. So that's not changing. That's still staying. Every sole store is still going to be individually owned by the local owner. And along with that, the Hobbytown name is also sticking around. So they really want to keep Hobbytown as the store face of it. They also still want to keep the Hobbytown website, and the Hobbytown website's geared a little bit towards beginners versus, Amain Hobbies is your RC enthusiast that knows what they want.
Right.
So we'll try to make both platforms, one beginner friendly, one expert friendly.
Yeah, because definitely the way the Hobbytown walks you through the purchase process, I would say even of the RCs, like you said, geared toward making it easy for a new person to find what they wanted to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So Hobbytown is sticking around, especially from a storefront. That they want. Hobbytown's been kind of the dominating company when it comes to brick and mortar hobby stores. I mean, there's still 100 locations around the country, and we're good at that. And a lot of the owners that are still in the game are pretty good at what they do, and they want to stick around. So Amain's just going to kind of use that knowledge to help us potentially open more stores. So that's their angle. They want to open up more Hobbytowns and allow local customers to open up stores in their market that might not have a hobby store.
Yeah. Now, does that mean that they're going to get rid of all the models and the kites and the Dungeons and Dragons games and all that kind of stuff because Amain's not a hobby store in that way? Yeah, it's kind of not what I don't think I've ever seen that on their site. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not what they're known for.
No Pokemon.
So quite the opposite. They, they want to help us grow those categories. So, you're probably going to see some of that pop up on their website since Hobbytowns have been good at that. So wouldn't be surprised if you saw more toys
trains and games
and Amain, exactly.
Legos and stuff.
It's still totally up to the local owners of what they carry. We have a lot of freedom when it comes to our stores and what products we carry, and every local market is super different. Some stuff might work in our store and it might not work in other stores. We sell a lot of LMTs and grave diggers and son of a diggers because
they don't sell up here, man. Yeah, they don't sell up here.
Yeah, other stores are like, we can't carry them because we sell maybe one a year max. So the inventory in your local store is still totally up to the store owner. Okay. But Amain is gonna help provide a variety of ordering options. So if a Hobbytown did want to carry more racing stuff or stuff that's a little harder to get, they should have easier access to getting that now, which is a win-win. Yeah,
one of my buddies on here on YouTube bought a store in Indiana, like Granger area, as a Hobbytown. Yeah. But they almost exclusively sell RC stuff at that particular store.
Yeah,
and there's a racetrack there, and so there's race parts and all that, and a lot of planes because he's a big plane guy. So yeah. So,
and I think that's one of the cool aspects about hobby stores is everyone's a little different. So when you're traveling, it's kind of fun to go check out different ones. We don't want to be the McDonald's of hobby stores. You don't want to go into every single one and never expect something unique or different or new. So I think that's a really cool advantage of the freedom we have as store owners.
Yeah. Well, you've got you've been able to kind of develop the drift scene with your stores even too. You got two drift tracks now?
Yeah, we got 2 drift tracks now. We got one in our Richmond store and one we're calling it Yorktown now, but it's right on the Newport News Yorktown line. We just moved it last year. And man, we've been working on growing the drift scene for probably like 10 years now. And it's gotten pretty popular, especially now that there's so much product available in the US. We used to have to get stuff direct from Japan and China with kind of makeshift dealer accounts. But now Amain is really the main one bringing the stuff in, and they've helped us tremendously grow the hobby.
That's cool. Yeah. Now, what are some of the things that may be different? Will we see differences in the shopping experience in stores, or is it more behind the scenes for you guys? Like should a customer expect?
Yeah, it's mostly going to be behind the scenes stuff when it comes to helping the store owners run their store more efficiently. Like I said, getting product more easily is going to be a big win. If someone's looking for that high-end kit that the store doesn't usually carry, they can probably get it for you in like a day or two. Amain already has 2 warehouses in the country. One's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. Now they're going to be taking over the Hobbytown warehouse, and that's going to give them a central warehouse as well. So they're going to kind of have a huge warehouse space and be able to get product to us in probably about 2 days, depending on where your store's at. So product availability and selection, a big one. And then they're really good at online shopping. So Hobbytown's one of the only stores that has a shop our inventory via the web, and it's live. So
Yeah.
if you weren't aware of that, you can go to hobbytown.com right now and you can see our lifetime inventory for everything that's posted on there. So it's in stock. You can either come to the store, and then that whole buy online, pick up in store experience is going to get really awesome pretty soon. One of the projects they're working on. So
then that kind of started during the C word, right? When that first was starting to happen.
It did, yeah. We were trying to find ways to stay alive.
Yeah.
So they helped create that in-store pickup process for us, and it's kind of clunky right now, but it works. So they're definitely going to help get that a little bit more smooth, and should be an awesome shopping experience for customers.
Troy's Hobby saying we still have access to other distributors like HRP.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's not going to limit who the local stores can buy from. So we can still get Horizon products. HRP has a lot of products that they manufacture. They make Rage RC. So that's one of their brands. Spastic Paint. They kind of specialize in Salvox servos. So a couple of those big ones. And then really anything you want to get, models, paint tools, all that stuff.
And that's all through a lot of that's through HRP as well.
Yeah. They're a full line distributor.
Well, and then wasn't there one of the train? I mean, you sell trains and stuff there too, and so I know some of them are their own distributors.
Yeah, some people
that.
You go direct through. Traxxas is one. If you want to carry Traxxas stuff, you buy it through them. Lionel Trains is a big one. So that's
the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, Lionel. That's the iconic Christmas train.
Yeah.
Which people like, and we have a pretty good train.
I bought one from you guys.
Yeah, that's right. You made the video and everything.
Yeah, we did. We got the Hogwarts one, but it was Christmassy enough. So
yeah, you probably only break it out in the holidays, right?
We do, but it still looks awesome, like under the tree.
I have, and I actually, I wouldn't say borrowed it from my parents and never gave it back. They had like a vintage NASCAR Lionel train, and we put it out. Oh man. It's like not Christmassy at all, but it's just NASCAR cars.
But it's a train going around a tree, and that says Christmas in my book. So
exactly. Yeah.
So what about I heard one of the things I thought people were speculating was now that all the stores will be linked with Amain and all that if something's not in stock in one, they could pull it from another store if somebody wanted it. Is that something that's going to be available? I didn't think it would, because each one is still its own, and the way that I know it is you usually have to pay to have stuff shipped to you, and you incur all the fees of that bulk order of shipment. So
right. Yeah,
I don't know how that would work.
Maybe eventually. We as owners always throw ideas around like that, and a lot of the times it's for us it's easy in Virginia because we just transfer products for customers between stores all the time. But if I was trying to get something to someone that was in California, we're hoping eventually that they'd be able to just buy it on the website and select ship from store, and we just ship it to them if it wasn't available anywhere else, kind of last resort. Yeah,
and your store could ship it if they wanted.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the dream. That's probably going to be a while, but there's a lot of big projects like that they're going to.
Yeah, because you'd have to figure out shipping, and then you have to have a whole area set to ship. I don't know about that. Have an area set aside for shipping stuff, and
it's tedious. Yeah, you got to have boxes, packing material. it's
time consuming when orders come in. There's a couple hours of just sitting doing it. You just know it.
Exactly.
So this is a question: when's Hobbytown getting Team Corrali? Which I've already seen it in the one in Maryland.
Yeah, so same thing, and that's an HRP brand, so it's up to the store. The store could get it. If we always encourage our customers, if they really would like to see something on the shelf, talk to the manager, the owner, let someone know, because sometimes we just don't think anyone's interested in it locally. So we're just like, no, we'll just hold off. But if there's a following and people want parts or want to see some trucks on the shelf, it's usually super easy to do.
So it's probably even orderable if they wanted it. They could even,
Yep.
because it's through HRP, it could be put in with an order if they deal with them.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and you used to do this all the time. You come in with a list of part numbers. We have 75% of them. The other 25, we're like, hey, we'll have them 3 days.
Yep.
And we'll give you a shout.
And that may be faster now with more warehouses, yeah?
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
for the customers that want to go in store, that just prefer to just be like, boom, I'm here. Yeah. Do you have this? No, but we'll have it tomorrow or whatever, 2 days or.
Yeah, exactly. And there's never any added shipping, because we just throw it in with our normal weekly restock orders. And yeah, it usually takes, 2-3 days max.
Yeah.
So
nice. What significant things, like, I mean, you just were at the convention, right? So I'm sure you all were talking about a lot of this all happening. Like, what are some of the things that even you guys are kind of talking about, or that you can tell us at least about this whole merger? I'm sure there's a lot you can't tell us that you talked about.
Yeah, I mean, they just announced it, so a lot of owners are kind of still trying to figure out what it means. And Amain's been really open and talked to a lot of us, one-on-one, the top dogs at Amain, which is super cool. And they've made it known that they just want to grow the hobby industry as a whole. So I mean, their dream out of this is just to see more stores pop up. So that's really their angle, and it's got us excited too, because you think more stores means kind of competition for your stores, but if you can get more people into the hobby industry as a whole, you can have more events. There's more buzz on social media, so it's just really a win-win for everyone. So we're hopeful for that. And
there's really only so far people are willing to drive, right?
Exactly.
Like, so yeah, it's competition from somebody that may come once every 2 months.
Right.
That, like, if it's an hour away or, hour and a half away, at that point, like, you better be doing something extra, and to come in from that distance if there's a race or whatever. And you've been doing that. You've been doing so it does draw people for the drifting and you're doing the parking lot racing and different things like that. So
yeah. So we're super excited about that, and then just the having multiple warehouses to order from, and just having more products available to get. We get a lot of requests for stuff that we just don't have access to, and with a big partner like this kind of running the ship behind the scenes, we'll just have infinite buying opportunities. All the brands that people want to see, that hard to find model kit that you can't get anywhere else, we'll be like, man, we can get that for you. So that's going to be a big win.
Nice. Hatfield saying Amain doesn't distribute Kyosho. So I don't know if that's answering somebody else. Who do you get? Is that through HRP as well, or Kyosho direct on that stuff? Because you have Kyosho.
Yeah.
And it can be tricky with parts. I know that.
Some companies you have to go direct. Some companies you can get through distribution. It just depends what kind of deal they make with the distributors.
Okay.
So that's when it gets harder as a hobby store owner. Because, you're, instead of ordering from 1 or 2 people each week, you got to place like 20 different orders from 20 different manufacturers. So you got to give your stores a little bit of grace when it comes to, hey, you don't have this weird manufacturer part in stock. It's like, yeah, well, I can only order from them, once a month because I have to order directly from them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And Amain may sell, because people are saying they buy kits from Amain. I think, Hatfield works for a shop here locally. And so I don't think that they distribute to the shops Kyosho stuff. So you wouldn't be able to get Kyosho distributed maybe from the Amain warehouse. Would be distributed through somebody else to your particular store. Exactly. However, you guys might be able to, because of the partnership and whatever they get in, they may order huge bundles of Kyosho that then I don't know how that'll work, but I'm guessing it'll be a little different because of the, the nature of the two companies kind of merging with what you'll get access to through the Amain access or buying of inventory.
Exactly. And it's all up to their deals, if they want to allow someone else to sell their products to a third party. And and some of it is to protect, the stores too. Some of the manufacturers kind of limit the amount of people that sell their stuff, so they don't get, those garage shops that are really bad for everyone because they're just undercutting the industry and kind of using their dealer discounts to hook up people, which seems like a good idea, but then just hurts everyone as a whole because it puts your stores out of business,
Yeah. I'm trying to remember some of the other things that we talked about. That's the problem with talking about things ahead of time is that sometimes you think you've already asked it.
Right.
Or it's not coming to mind. So what was some of the other things that we talked about as questions or things that you guys have been hearing? One of them was about not carrying things.
Yeah, that was a big one because Amain, they're known for RC, and at least for our stores, I mean, there's a lot of RC only stores around the country, and if that's their specialty, that's their specialty. But we're pretty diverse in our stores. We have a big toy section, we have a huge model section.
Yeah,
so a lot of
Kobe's, man. You got my kids hooked on the Kobe's. That stuff, for if you guys are into Legos or your kids are into Legos, I would go to your store and be like, you guys need to order these ones because, like, my son doesn't have them, and I will personally buy them. Like, if you put these on the order, but they're like all these historic.
Yeah, they're
vehicles.
Like what Lego doesn't do, because Lego doesn't do military.
They don't do war in military, yeah.
So they've kind of capitalized on that, but they're like, I'd say they're more
like Navy ships.
Yeah, so when they're done, they're like a beautiful display piece. It's not just like a Lego creation.
Yeah, hey Dominic, grab me one of those huge ships up there. I'm just gonna show one of them.
Yeah, you guys have a bunch.
Well, I gave you guys a lot of money when I was in Virginia.
No, when are you moving back?
I know, right? So this is one of them. It is the USS Missouri. Here, I'll go full screen real quick because it's pretty big.
Yeah.
And the pricing is insanely good for the quality of these.
For what you get, for sure, comparative to like Lego.
We've got tanks, we've got planes, we've got multiple ships like that.
Yep.
Set up that you guys carried that I wouldn't have known existed otherwise.
Yeah, you don't find them really anywhere. Specialty stores.
Renee's in here. She also shot me with the first gel blaster that I'd ever been shot by. And I've now been shot by them multiple times. And I remember it hurt because she was like, no, I think you might have been there too. And you were like, no, pull your shirt like tight so it'll hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then she lit me up.
We still have that video somewhere. We'll have to pull that up.
And I was like, yeah, no, we're not getting that for them. So they were a lot younger at that age, but they have them now.
Yeah, that was like,
you guys have all kinds of stuff. Like, that was the first time I'd ever seen them. You guys were pulling those out before they were cool. Like,
yeah, that's whoa. At least the stores that carry other things in RC, we try to be, on the front line of trends, especially when it comes to toys. We're huge into Lego now, so like all the high-end Lego sets that you can't find anywhere, or you can get them through us. Which is
do you have the $400 castle set?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you? Yeah. It's like this huge. Really? My son just bought it. So
yeah, like the Atari that just came out.
Yeah,
those. We got some super cool. The typewriter, the piano.
They got like the Friends and all that. Do you have that kind of stuff where it's like the classic shows that are the new Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So we got full line Legos now.
I need to stay in Michigan. You guys always did. We'd go in there not knowing we wanted something and leave with it. Slot car tracks, we got them. The Mario Kart one from you guys for Christmas one year.
Yeah.
What's that game that we play with the World War II game? Yeah, it's right there. What's that? We got it from you guys too. It's one of the coolest games ever, where it's like you reenact all the World War II. The small one. Oh yeah, Memoir 44. Sorry, my son's just down here, so I'm making him look. We found that at your store. We play that game all the time.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Because Risk takes forever. That game, each
yeah.
battle takes about 45 minutes with setup and whatever.
What you want, you don't want to be playing board games all night. I mean, depending on who you are.
Yeah, so it's we love it. All of our Catan packages, all that. You guys sell all that kind of. So board games is something else you do as a side note. But
yeah, exactly.
So that stuff's not going away, which is a good thing that you guys get to keep those choices.
Should get better, especially the stores that don't carry it might now because they'll be able to get it easier. So if you have a Hobbytown in your local market that's kind of focusing on one thing only, and you're looking for other things, let them know, or you might just see them start popping in, which is going to be awesome. We did get a good question about.
All right, what is it?
It's about we have a reward program.
Yes,
and it's changed a lot over the last couple of years, and that's another thing. AmainHobbies.com has a reward program. You get points when you buy stuff. Horizon, they all have reward programs. So ours is going to get better for sure. So if you shop at your local Hobbytown, make sure they just have your email. It's free to sign up, and you'll get monthly coupons, different rewards for depending on what you're buying. So
nice.
That's definitely going to get better. Throughout the partnership too.
I used to use those all the time.
Yeah.
So you're saying, well, the email discounts, that's the one that you saw from Xavier?
Yeah.
Will they vary depending on store? You think it'll be kind of universal more, or?
Yeah, it'll be every store for sure. I mean, the stores still, like even us, we do kind of specialized local ones depending on what we're doing. Like we'll do special event coupons and different things. So your local market will probably have those on top of the normal ones. So you'll definitely be seeing some.
I'm trying to see here. Will pricing go up or down with buying power now?
That's a good. That's a business question.
Yeah, I mean that's going to depend on each owner too, right?
Yeah,
to a degree.
It depends on a lot of things when it comes to price, but probably not, because a lot of the stuff we carry, the manufacturer dictates the price.
They set up pricing, yeah.
So we're selling it as low as we can based on their rules.
Yeah.
So probably not. I would not think you'll see a drastic pricing change.
Yeah. I know. And then, some of them definitely, they're like no coupons and no, so it excludes things. It's not necessarily you guys. It's what companies allow because of, I guess, them trying to keep it equal between stores or whatever the reasoning being.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just to make the internet not try to dominate local markets by price, which is awesome for us. So it helps the stores, because Amazon could just lose a bunch of money by lowering the price for a while and put everyone out of business and then raise the price back up.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want.
Yeah. Okay. Level playing field then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, plus, you don't get service from the internet, so you're not gonna be able to come in and be like, why is this broken? What's not working? Or can I get a battery warranty on the spot? You can't get that from the internet.
Yeah. So I guess a question people would have would be, anytime a company sells, like, was it hurting? Was Hobbytown in a bad place, or was it, or is it more just logistically they were working together and it made sense? And I mean, I'm sure there's tons of different reasons that it could be, but.
Right. Yeah, no, as a whole, I mean, the company was healthy. I think Amain just, dominated the online space, and Hobbytown dominated the brick and mortar store space. So they were like, hey, this is a perfect partnership. We're already running your website. Like, why don't we're kind of going against each other right now. Why don't we merge our tools and have one really big, awesome company?
That's cool.
So that was kind of the reasoning behind it. I mean, both healthy companies.
So when new stores form, they'll still take on the Hobbytown name for brick and mortar. Is going to continue that way.
Yep.
So I mean, for some of us that are like in this world and kind of overly live in it for some reason, we're just those hobbyist people that get like, we dive in feet first or head first, I guess. And we notice these kind of things and talk about it, but for outside world, they may not even realize
Probably not. Yeah.
the togetherness, because Amain will be doing its thing and it'll keep its one Amain store and
Yep.
shop and whatever. That's their headquarters.
Yeah, and it's kind of like their warehouse shop too, because it's right by their warehouse in Chico, where they get to kind of have events and show things off and do other things. So I think that's what helped them realize that a storefront is a big win, and they saw us doing a pretty good job at it. So
Okay, so they started as online then? They weren't a store first that went online?
right,
So
yeah,
I don't even know that much about
they were online
their
first.
history. Okay.
And then they opened that store, which is right by their California warehouse. It's kind of like let's see if we can have a store. And I think it's going well. I mean, it's still there. So that's always a good sign.
Someone says, how does someone start a store? There's not one where I'll be moving to.
So that's where you would.
There's a buy-in.
Yeah, I mean, they have like a franchise service team, and you just reach out to them, and they, you wouldn't be able to open up a store if there's already a store, but if your market's available within a certain, mile radius, then they just roll through. It all depends how big of a store you want and what you want to bite off. But yeah, it's just starting a small business,
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have that little bit down to get into it, and then inventory and all the stuff you got to do on your own besides just getting the buy-in to the name.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for any small business to stay alive and stay healthy. But yeah, I mean, Hobbytown's a great partner for the hobby industry. They have a great sales tool. How we ring people up at the register is something that they offer their franchisees that open stores.
Yep.
And then you're obviously now you're going to get that website support that Amain's going to be doing a really good job with. So you're going to get the hobbytown.com presence.
Yeah.
You know that running a website is a lot of work. And especially if you're updating products and parts and putting descriptions and pictures and, oh man, the list goes on. So the pain. So it's
I was on there today and I'm like, why does that say out of stock?
Right.
How come I didn't get a notice saying that was out of stock?
Exactly.
Usually I do. Yeah. So it's not super easy, but there's things that make it a little easier, especially if you have a back end like you're talking about.
Yep.
And I paid to have a back end, which screwed me a couple months ago when they took my site down. But other than that, they've been fantastic.
Right.
But so what do you think is? I know that during COVID, it was very tough because the stores were shut down in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But then as they started to open, the hobby saw like this crazy boom because people were still like limited on what we could do. We could go into stores, we could do certain things, but people were still like just kind of like doing their own thing.
Exactly.
And it was like, it just felt like everything was going nuts as far as the RC world.
It really created some growth in the RC world, and I mean, there's always an end to growth, so we're definitely seeing the buzz of the
There's
RC
a peak.
world. Yeah, we've passed the peak for sure.
Yeah,
when it comes to RC. Plus, we haven't really got a lot of help from manufacturers the last year. There hasn't been a lot of huge new releases. I mean, the Moto was one, but they're hard to get, so it's kind of like this weird stagnant growth from that.
Yeah.
But nothing else that's like,
once they start supplying that, you may see a little bit of that growth.
Yeah, for sure. But when you get that, like when a totally new product line, like the Moto is a good example. If we had enough, we'd be blowing them off the shelves. But like when like the SEX 24s came out, that was almost like a new category, and it created a ton of growth. And then they kind of grew on that with a bunch of different variations, and it helped grow the crawler category. We haven't seen a lot of that in the last year, so that's kind of killing that buzz too when it comes to
and some of them kind of felt like they've just stayed about the same, so there's not been this need to get the new one.
Exactly.
I feel that new Baja Ray has my attention for sure.
We saw that last week. It's sweet.
Shoot.
Yeah, I love a scale trophy truck there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. So much of everything feels like it's going so scale.
Yeah.
And it depends on whether that's where people are going, right? Like, I don't, and maybe it feels like it because I'm not living in the world as much of the take mine and jump it as into trees and as high as I can go.
Right.
I've kind of like grown out of that phase of RC, and now I prefer scale. Even when I'm working on my sidetrack here for the Promoto, I'm not going huge with anything.
Yeah. You just want to make it look realistic, and that's I think that's what's helped grow. That helped grow the crawler scene. That's definitely one of the reasons the drift scene is growing because
the scale side's insane.
Making it look cool and making it look realistic, and I think
you did the first car that I ever saw with the.
Oh yeah, it's right
the
there.
Hand and the shifter. That one, that was so rad with the camera as the head, right? You put the little GoPro as the head.
That was probably.
Did the head turn too?
Yeah,
the camera turns and looks.
That was probably one of our.
Yeah, you guys gotta see this because this thing's wicked insane.
That was probably one of our first viral videos. But yeah, it's got a GoPro that rotates.
The Hero, yeah.
Yeah, it's got the old Hero session, and then the wheel rotates, 360 degrees, so it actually spins like a real.
Yeah, he does the whole.
And then it's got an e-brake that moves too. So look on the Hobbytown Virginia YouTube channel, and you can see some of the videos. I don't post a ton of videos on there, but there's a couple on there.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Looks pretty cool. Yeah, but that scale aspect, and then the social media content that comes from it, putting those realistic videos up where people are like, oh, I totally thought I was watching the real thing, and then it's not. I think that's driving the scale aspect of things.
Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to mention too with the Hobbytown before we go and all that too is, sometimes I'll hear people complain or say, "Oh, Hobbytown sucks," or "Hobbytown this or that," or
yeah.
And they're going based off of their one experience with one shop, and who knows, because you get two personalities just in general that don't click.
Yep.
And that can happen whether whether they really do suck or not. It just could be that the two personalities of the owner and the patron
right.
did not click. And so one of them felt left feeling whatever, but they're owned by different people and everyone is run differently. And so it's not what your experience is at one may not be what your experience is at another. And I've only had good experiences at I've probably been to about 12 of them or more in traveling, because I travel quite a bit. So, and I always go check out hobby shops whenever I'm traveling.
Yeah. And you've seen it, they're all like, the look is different.
Drastically different.
It's kind of cool because they all share unique things.
Yeah. And some totally don't focus on RC very much at all.
Yeah.
And others do, so it's crazy the difference from one to another.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the negativity usually comes from that top of the pyramid expert level. A lot of times it's RC, and it's tough to keep the stuff in stock that customer is looking for because there's only a couple of them in each local market, especially if you don't have a track. So that was one of the questions we got a lot too, like, hey, are you guys going to start carrying more expert level, buggy racing stuff? And I'm like, well, it's only one guy
Amain, right? Yeah.
Wants it, so probably not.
Yeah.
And there's an 8-scale buggy behind me. I love 8-scale buggy racing, but we don't really carry anything for it just because there's not enough.
It's not a big enough scene. Yeah.
It just depends on the local market. But if
is it the tilt yard you guys have out there, or
we have tilt yard, and then we have power line in Frederick.
Power line, that's the one. Yeah.
That's where I race. So we'll be up there in 2.5 weeks for their big race.
Okay.
I only race off road like once a year, and I always
for the big one
and want to race more. But just you said it earlier. There's only so many weekends.
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do. Like Like people get on me because we've been into the mini stuff so much. I'm just like, that's what and so that's what the people up here have been doing that I hang out with, and so you just get into like what brings community, right? And so
exactly.
That drives for me a lot of it. There we had monster trucks. It really drove me in. I mean, I just like monster trucks in general. I'm always gonna do monster trucks, but
right.
I'm not doing as much because it's not a scene here. Like
Exactly.
I was talking with the guys when I first moved up here to shop, and they're just like, we can't even move these things. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I know. It's
We
funny how
love
different
these
it is.
things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I should get into planes too, because that's something else. There's flying fields, and people are kind of crazy about them up here.
Yeah, I mean, we have in our Richmond manager's expert level aircraft pilot and helicopter pilot. So he goes to all of the air events in the area and kind of promotes the stores too. So yeah, we have a bunch of good flying fields locally there.
In Richmond, you do?
Yeah, there's one in Richmond, one up in Fredericksburg, a couple down in Hampton Roads. So there's
Really?
a bunch. Yeah.
But there was one, I think, by me in Chesapeake, and I never went. Like, you had to be a member and go to meetings. And
Yeah, that's what scares people away. You have to all the AMA safety stuff when it comes to flying.
Yeah.
But once you get it done, it's pretty easy from there.
Yeah. So, well, cool, man. Thank you for this. Is there anything else that you would want people to know about either, Hobbytown that you guys do for Virginia people that are in that area? And you guys should definitely check it out. They don't look the same as when I was there, but I can tell you they probably only could look better than when I was there, because the stores were awesome. Always had a good experience. And I think so much of it too comes into how you go in. What kind of experience you want is one that you give in a way too, because
for sure.
I think that sometimes those expert level, like you're talking about, want to just go in and be like, I know way more than the people there do. Why would I ever go there? Like,
exactly.
Like some of them are new and they're just loving it. And it took me years to learn as much as I've learned about the hobby. So if they're new into it or whatever, it's fine. You don't need them to.
That's the biggest thing too. And it works for every store, in ours too. I've been in RC for 25 years, and I grew up with it my entire life, and a lot of our staff members are the same way. So we're a wealth of knowledge and we're passionate about the stuff, but every employee in a hobby store starts somewhere. So some of them are starting totally fresh, so you got to have a little patience for the new guys in the store. And then there's some store owners around the country that are also starting fresh. So if you go in there and they don't know what every different variation of brushless motor means, just cut them a little slack. They'll get there.
And I've seen too where like they may not know, a customer comes in and but like the way I see it is like, I'm willing to help. Like if I'm sitting in the store and I hear, and I get that they're not getting what this person's problem is, I'll just be like, hey man, I've got that same car. Like this is the connector you have for your motor. If you haven't changed anything on your car, this is the battery you're needing, or the plug adapter, whatever the thing is that the person may not know that's working there or whatever. So
and they're trying their best, so a lot to learn there. There's a lot of different manufacturers, a lot of different products. But I mean, if you have a local store in your market, definitely get to know the owner. You can always give them feedback. They're almost always in the store at some point. And if you don't have a local store in your market, definitely get on to the, hobbytown.com and do some research on how to open one. It's an awesome job and super fun.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I definitely miss going in to your guys' stores and hanging out. And I used to come sometimes just to talk. So sorry if they were not as productive in the hours that I was there, but
hey, that's like half the job.
Just go in and hang out and talk about whatever new thing just came out with somebody.
Yeah, exactly. You're like showing off your new creation. No, we love that. That's half the fun.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I don't want to step on the next live that's going live. So I know that Harley and Scale Builders Guild start at 9. And so any of you that are in here watching would probably disappear anyway in about 5 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And I think it sounds like it's a pretty good move for both Hobbytown and Amain from what we've heard. And it shouldn't affect too much the experience for the users, except for over time making it better. And
it's gonna get better.
more product availability and quicker turnarounds on things, and another warehouse that they're going to have shared and combined. And so I think it's going to be good for the consumer in the end. And sometimes it's hard to see that kind of stuff from the outside looking in when you don't have some of the background info, or you think that things are going to change a certain way. So thanks for helping us understand a little bit about what's going on, and we'll catch you guys all next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
We'll see you guys.